Listen up, you sickly, broke little woman. I already filed the divorce papers. This house, everything in it, and the luxury car. They're all mine. When this is all over, I'm marrying my fiancé. My husband screamed at me, announced the divorce, and kicked me out while I was gravely ill. He took everything thinking he had won. He was dead wrong. Just a few days later, he would be the one calling me, weeping. Before the story begins, please let me know in the comments what state you're watching this story from. Don't forget to like and subscribe so the channel can continue to grow and bring you more interesting stories. Niala Azebo lay in the massive bed. The sheets felt cold, yet her whole body was burning up. The thin chemise she usually wore at home was soaked with sweat clinging to her temples. Her throat was dry and sore. Every time she inhaled, she felt a sharp pain. She had been bedridden, this helpless, for 2 straight days. That morning, she had asked her husband, Zaire Nkrumah, to buy her some fever reducers and antibiotics, but it was now deep into the night, and Zaire hadn't returned. The large house in the Atlanta suburbs was silent, eerily quiet. All she could hear was the clock on the living room wall ticking, as if counting down the last remnants of her patience. Niala tried to reach the glass of water on the nightstand, but her hands were shaking violently. The glass slipped, crashing onto the thick area rug and spilling the remaining water. All Niala could do was close her eyes, enduring the despair. Zaire had changed over the last year. Ever since he was promoted to department head at his company, his attitude had become arrogant. He often came home late at night and was quick to blame Niala for anything and everything. The tipping point came 3 months ago when Niala started coughing frequently and feeling easily fatigued. Zaire never showed compassion. On the contrary, he called her the sickly woman. He seemed to have forgotten that Niala was the wife who had stood by him since they had nothing, back when they lived in a cramped, rented apartment in Brooklyn. Neek. The sound of a luxury sedan pulling into the driveway was heard. Niala felt a small measure of relief. Finally, Zaire was back. Surely he had brought the medication. Niala tried to sit up, bracing her aching back against the headboard. She waited for Zaire to open the door and bring her the drugs. The front door slammed shut, followed by heavy, quick footsteps. They were not the steps of someone concerned. They were the steps of someone angry. The bedroom door flew open, revealing Zaire's towering, erect figure. He was still wearing his impeccable designer shirt. His hair was neatly coiffed and his face was handsome, but the gaze he directed at Niala was filled with cold hatred. In his hands, there was no pharmacy bag. What he carried was a thick, brown legal folder. "Zaire," Niala's voice was hoarse and weak. "Where are my meds? My head hurts so bad, honey, I have a fever." Zaire laughed, a discordant, jarring sound. "Meds? I brought something much better than medicine. This is medicine for both of us, a cure for my life," Zaire declared. He strode over and flung the brown folder onto the comforter, covering Niala's legs. Niala trembled, looking at the folder in confusion. "What is this, honey?" "Open it if you don't want to die of curiosity," Zaire replied in a cold, cutting tone. With the last of her strength, Niala picked up the folder. Her trembling fingers struggled to break the seal on the envelope. She pulled out several sheets of paper. On the top line, she read the words, "Petition for dissolution of marriage." Niala's world seemed to stop. She gasped for air. The feverish heat vanished, replaced by a cold that penetrated to her bones. She looked at Zaire, searching her husband's eyes for the slightest hint of doubt, but all she found was satisfaction. "Divorce?" Niala whispered in disbelief. "Why are you surprised?" Zaire scoffed. He sat on the edge of the bed but kept his distance as if Niala disgusted him. "Listen up, you sickly, broke little woman. Do you think I want to spend the rest of my life taking care of a useless burden like you? I've handled everything. I already filed the divorce papers." Zaire got up again and paced the room as if delivering a speech. "I'm sick of it. Sick of seeing you cough every day. Sick of seeing you lying in bed with no energy. You're a liability, a weight on my life. Honey, what did I do wrong?" Niala tried to speak, but tears began to well up in her eyes. Your fault? Your fault is being poor. You can't give me anything. Zaire gestured around the luxurious room. Look at all this house, all this expensive furniture, the luxury SUV in the garage. It will all be mine. I'm the one who worked hard for all of this. Everything is in my name. Nyala said nothing. Behind her gaze, there was something Zaire couldn't read. Zaire took Nyala's silence as a sign of defeat. Are you listening to me? You won't get a single penny. Asset division? Don't even dream of it. You brought nothing into this house, and you'll take nothing when you leave. Then Zaire spoke the words that shattered what little was left of Nyala's heart. When this is over, he said, his face glowing, I'm marrying my fiancée Anya. He paused for effect. She's much healthier, much prettier, and most importantly, she understands my position as a successful man, unlike you. Nyala closed her eyes. So there was another woman. The name was unfamiliar, but the pain was all too real. I don't want to see your face in this house again tomorrow morning, Zaire added cruelly. I'm giving you until dawn. Get out of this house tomorrow morning. Don't take anything but the clothes on your sick body. Zaire looked at Nyala, who was now weeping silently. Hot tears ran down her pale cheeks. Crying won't change a thing. The papers are already filed. The process will be quick. Zaire then turned around and straightened his shirt. I'm sleeping at Anya's downtown loft tonight. I don't want to be under the same roof as you. He paused at the door. Tomorrow morning, I'm sending someone to make sure you're gone. Nyala wanted to scream. She wanted to curse him, but all her strength was drained. She could only watch her husband's back disappear behind the door. The bedroom door slammed shut. Then came the slam of the main door. A moment later, the roar of Zaire's SUV leaving the driveway. Nyala was alone, gravely ill, divorced, and evicted. She cried her heart out. The pain in her heart was far worse than the fever burning her body. She wept for her shattered marriage and for the cruel betrayal. After crying for 15 minutes, Nyala stopped. She gasped for air, roughly wiping away her tears. In the midst of the agony, something else arose, something cold, hard, and calculating. Her face, which had been pale, now hardened into resolve. She groped beneath the pillow. It wasn't the one she usually used. It was an extra pillow she always kept there. Her fingers touched a hard, slim object. She pulled it out. It was a state-of-the-art smartphone, far more sophisticated than the old phone she used to keep on the nightstand. That phone was her only secret, an object Zaire didn't even know existed. The phone didn't have a pattern lock. It opened with her fingerprint. The screen lit up, showing a plain white background. There were no social media apps, only encrypted business applications. Nyala opened a single contact saved under the name Director Imani Nkosi. She pressed the call button. Her heart was pounding, not from illness, but from the anger beginning to surge within her. The call connected on the first ring. A woman's calm, professional voice answered on the other end. Good evening, Ms. Nyala. You're calling at this hour. Are you all right? I was told you weren't feeling well. Nyala took a deep breath, trying to steady her trembling voice. Director Nkosi, she said, her voice raspy, but sounding extremely cold. Contingency plan. Activate it. There was a brief silence on the other end. Then Director Nkosi's voice turned serious. Understood, ma'am. What has happened? I was evicted, Nyala said. Zaire divorced me. He thinks I'm a useless, sick little pauper. Good heavens! The sheer audacity of Mr. Zaire, Director Nkosi hissed. Director, I'm ill. My fever is very high. I need medical evacuation. I don't want to go to a regular hospital. Come to the house and pick me up. Bring the private medical team from the Kings Mountain Clinic. No sirens. Do it quietly. I don't want anyone to know. Understood, ma'am. The VVIP medical team will be there in 30 minutes. I will come to fetch you myself. Can you hold on? Nyala looked at the divorce papers on the comforter. With the strength she had left, she crumpled the paper in her fist. I have to hold on, Director. The game has just begun. She hung up the phone. Her body still trembled from the fever, but her eyes now glowed with sharpness in the darkness of the room. Zaire had just made the biggest mistake of his life. He had just thrown out his wife. He didn't know he had just thrown out the owner of Azibo Holdings, a global corporation with a net profit of $1.5 million a month. Niala waited in suffocating silence. Every tick of the wall clock sounded like a hammer blow. She tightly gripped her secret phone. Her mind was a mess. She feared Zaire might suddenly return. She feared the medical team might be delayed. Her body alternated again between chills and searing heat. Exactly 25 minutes later, her phone vibrated silently. It was a text message from Director Nkosi. "We have arrived. The door is unlocked. The team is entering." Niala let out a sigh of relief. She had anticipated that Zaire wouldn't lock the door. The man was too arrogant to think his nearly dying wife could do anything. With the strength she had left, Niala pushed aside the comforter. Her feet touched the cold carpeted floor. Her head spun violently. She almost fell, but grabbed the bedpost. She had to leave. With trembling hands, she grabbed a long trench coat hanging behind the door. She put it on. She wouldn't abandon this house in an undignified state. She wouldn't let Zaire take her dignity. The bedroom door opened silently. Niala flinched for a moment, but saw two people in dark scrubs. They weren't the flashy white nurse uniforms. They moved quickly and quietly. Behind them appeared Director Nkosi, a woman in her late 50s with a stern yet kind face, dressed in a sharp blazer and neat attire. Her face showed deep concern upon seeing Niala's condition. "Ms. Niala," Director Nkosi whispered. "I'm ready, Director," Niala replied weakly. "Put Ms. Niala on the portable stretcher," Director Nkosi ordered the medical team. The team immediately unfolded a collapsible gurney. They helped Niala lie down with utmost care. "Ma'am, we'll inject a temporary fever reducer so you're more comfortable during the transfer," one of the medical team members said. Niala just nodded. She felt a slight prick in her arm, and soon a cold sensation spread. As they lifted her, Niala took one last look at the bedroom ceiling, the room she herself had decorated, the room that had been a silent witness to Zaire's shift in attitude. They carried her out of the room and through the opulent living area. Niala's gaze settled on the large wedding photo hanging on the wall, a picture of her and Zaire smiling happily, the Zaire of the past whom she knew, the Zaire who was tender and loving. Now, that photo felt like a mockery. "Leave everything. Don't take anything," Niala whispered. "Of course, ma'am, we don't need anything from here," Director Nkosi replied firmly. They exited the front door. In the driveway, there was no flashy ambulance. What was parked was a black Mercedes-Benz Sprinter that looked like a presidential escort vehicle. The side door slid open, revealing an interior that was a fully equipped VVIP emergency medical space. Meanwhile, in a luxury downtown loft, Zaire was laughing heartily. He poured a cocktail into a tall glass for Anya, a young, beautiful woman wearing a sheer chemise. "So, tomorrow we'll officially be the owners of that big house, darling?" Anya asked flirtatiously. "Of course, I evicted her. That sickly woman won't dare to object. She has nothing. Tomorrow I'll have all the locks changed, and the day after we can start remodeling the bedroom," Zaire said as he embraced Anya. "How exciting! Finally, all of this will be ours!" Anya exclaimed. Zaire raised his glass. "To our new life," he toasted. His old cell phone lay on the table on silent mode. He didn't want to be disturbed by any call from that sickly woman. Inside the smooth-gliding medical vehicle in the night, Niala's condition began to be attended to. A doctor waiting inside the vehicle immediately started an IV. Temperature of 107 degrees Fahrenheit, 41.7 degrees. "A pretty severe infection, but we're acting now. We need to move her quickly to the hospital for intensive care," the doctor said. Director Nkosi sat in a chair next to Niala's gurney. She observed Niala's pale face with a worried expression. "Ma'am, you must be strong. We've prepared everything at the Kings Mountain Clinic." Niala closed her eyes. The fever reducer was starting to take effect, reducing the dizziness. Her thoughts drifted back to the past. 5 years ago, at the beginning of this whole secret, Zaire had just been laid off from his first job. He was depressed for months. Niala, who was then just a simple homemaker, tried to comfort him. Zaire started becoming sensitive about money. He forbade Niala from working, citing pride. "Your job is to be at home. I'll earn the money," he insisted, even while unemployed. But Niala, who secretly held a degree in pharmacology, felt frustrated. She had many ideas. In her spare time between household chores, she started experimenting in the kitchen, not cooking, but formulating skincare products using organic, herbal ingredients. She recalled ancient recipes inherited from her grandmother. She used all her personal savings to buy high-quality raw materials. After months of testing, she successfully created a facial serum and a whitening cream with astonishing effects. She tried it on herself, and the results were incredible. Zaire, busy looking for work, paid her no mind. He only knew his wife was busy playing in the kitchen. Niala mustered her courage. She opened a small online store. Initially, she only sold to acquaintances, but her products became famous through word of mouth. Orders skyrocketed. It was then that Zaire landed a new job. His salary was quite good. He started becoming arrogant. He often saw Niala busy until late at night on her old phone, responding to customer orders. "I give you money, and you're still glued to that phone. It seems like you have nothing to do," Zaire yelled one night. Niala simply stayed silent. She had just closed a sale worth $30,000 that very night. The turning point was when she met director Imani Nkosi at a seminar for women entrepreneurs. Niala attended as a participant. Director Nkosi was the invited speaker. Director Nkosi was a former high-ranking executive from a multinational corporation who had opted for early retirement. Niala plucked up the courage to meet Director Nkosi after the event. She showed her products and a handwritten business proposal. Director Nkosi was astonished by Niala's potential. "This product is excellent, Miss Niala, and your business strategy is very solid," Director Nkosi had said. In short, Director Nkosi agreed to join, not as an investor, but as a partner. Director Nkosi wanted to work again and saw Niala's vision. They founded Azibo Holdings, or AH. Niala was the owner and the brain behind all the products. Director Nkosi was the CEO, the face of the company. Niala requested one thing, that her name not appear anywhere. She wanted to remain Zaire's ordinary wife. Ironically, with the help of Director Nkosi's network, she hoped that Zaire, by succeeding in his new job, would become a better husband. But Niala was wrong. The more successful Zaire became, the more arrogant he grew. Ak, on the other hand, grew explosively. From skincare, they expanded into luxury fashion. High-end clothing and accessories designed by Niala became highly popular in domestic and international markets. New York, Paris, Shanghai, and even Tokyo. A net profit of $1.5 million a month was a conservative figure. That was Niala's personal net income. Aside from the company's revenue, which was dozens of times larger, Niala kept all this wealth carefully concealed. She continued to live simply. Even when Zaire wanted to buy the luxury house and the sports car, he had to take out a large loan from the bank. Zaire